One of the largest experiments of the ONDC mobility stack started with this app called Namma Yatri, built for Bengaluru auto drivers. That seems to be in some kind of a trouble now. What is going on? So, there was a breaking news recently on money control. Spotlight on zero commission models after Namma Yatri Auto Union break the tie up. App by the drivers for the people, that is what it claimed. But now it seems to be in trouble. It had quite a big following. A lot of people were using it, and now it seems to be in trouble. What is going on? So let's try to understand what are these three different things that are happening here. There is on one hand the ONDC, and then on the other hand the app called Namma Yatri, and there is a third party called Autorickshaw Drivers Union with whom they were trying to pilot this app. It was quite successful. Apparently, let's see, the Namma Yatri dashboard right now is claiming around 16,000 completed trips just today. Let's look at all-time highs. I'll just share that screen with you guys. 1 crore 97 lakh completed. That's almost 2 crore completed trips. That's a lot of trips that have been happening. There are more than 38 lakh registered users. There are more than 1.5 lakh registered drivers, and a good enough decent conversion rate of around 25-26%. All this is transparent on the Namma Yatri dashboard. You're looking at live dashboards. You can even look at what they're earning just on one day. I don't know, has this fallen over time? They are looking at all cities. They are operational in West Bengal, Kolkata, and they're operational in Bengaluru, right? So this is a very useful dashboard. You can literally download all of this data, do your own analytics, and see how all these cities are performing. Right now, there are almost 20,000 drivers waiting for rides to pick up, rather. And across the country, they have around 23,000 riders just today. If you look at the all-time by city, and this app is just about a year old, maybe, right? They launched it last year, and it's not even a year, and they've made a huge breakthrough into the whole app-driven auto rickshaw market. So, what is going on here? Let's understand. Here's a little bit of a nerd alert. Let's understand what is ONDC Beckn. That's a new word I'm introducing. Beckn is the protocol. What is this Beckn protocol? It's basically defining how people can share data, right? Auto drivers, commuters, how can they be interoperable across platforms? So if you're a customer and you're looking for a ride, if you're an auto driver or a taxi driver, you can follow this protocol and publish your availability, and customers kind of call out and say, I need an auto, and this is supposed to have the protocol that can connect all these pieces together. Okay, this is just in layman's terms. But if you look at the technical, this is the entire backend protocol is out on GitHub. People can see what is going on. Here's the protocol specifications, for example. This basically tells you how. It's just a simple protocol. It is not the app. Beckn was created under the Beckn Foundation by a few people, and it was funded by Nandan Nilekani, and it has been taken over under the ONDC. This is just basically how you're supposed to send a message, how you get back the response. That's all these things talk about, right? This is just the how the API looks, and this protocol is not what you and I as consumers or auto drivers will even see. This is just allowing people to come in and build more and more apps. When I ask for a ride, it sends my latitude, my longitude, and says, okay, this is where I am, send me a ride here. And it defines how you give that. And everybody who understands that, it's something like a web page. If you write it in HTML, all browsers can understand. If you write it in your own language, browsers may not understand, they may not render the web page the way you want to see it. So backend protocol is that language that apps can use to communicate with each other. Now, what is Namma Yatri then? Right? Namma Yatri is another app which conforms to this backend protocol. Let me pull up the Namma Yatri GitHub. So if you look at this location tracking service, for example, they've allowed. So they have also published. This is a typical app. It follows the backend protocol. and it is able to give you the auto rickshaw as a service, and this is what you kind of sign up to. But this is not the app. This is just they have opened up the documentation and their code as well. So if you're a tech geek and you want to just play around with it, you can look at what they have. And who is running Namma Yatri now? It is being run by a company called JustPay. They're basically used to be a payment gateway provider and few other things, and they built along with the ONDC team and the Beckn team, they built an app in Kerala on a different model. And then they said, why not build one for Bengaluru as well? And they built the app. So it's a private company which is building an app and providing it based on ONDC protocol and allowing auto drivers. So how did they start working? They went in and found the auto rickshaw drivers union here, right? And there were a couple of people and a few guys there, Rudramurthy Patabi and a few others were there, and they started talking to JustPay team and the ONDC team and said, let's build a tech platform. The JustPay team has also worked on many initiatives like UPI and the Open Credit Enablement Network and other things, and they launched the whole thing on March 23rd. They were in constant discussions with what was then the Auto Rickshaw Drivers Union and a couple of representatives from them. And what was their claim to fame? It was basically trying to have zero commission model, right? And the zero commission model basically meant we don't take commissions on the rides. That's what they claim. And there was always a subscription fee which was being charged. It was not going to be completely free. And I think everybody knew that right up front. The auto rickshaw drivers knew. And in fact, this article goes on to say that the commissions were being charged from the very beginning and they were very transparent. There was a commission. But it was not about the commission. Breakup was because few people who were initially involved in helping define and all of those things were told that there is going to be a digital cooperative, apparently. And now there is no such thing. Namma Yatri or JustPay has basically said we will work with all auto drivers. We don't have any preferred union. We are going to work with all auto drivers, and that's how it's going to be. And we're going to charge a subscription fee. They don't call it a commission. You can pay 25 rupees for unlimited trips per day or 3.5 rupees per ride. It's just a subscription fee to keep us going. There's a lot of infrastructure and other things. It's not going to be free. So here's that there was no dispute on the subscription fee, really, right? The auto drivers knew there was a commission, there was a fee, and the that was very clear. It was not called a commission. It doesn't matter, but there was a fee for availing the services. But it was lower than what Ola and Uber probably used to charge. Now, whether it will remain that or not is a different story altogether. But I guess the current dispute came about because of a few reasons which I can glean from the people I've spoken to and what I see in all the statements that are being released left, right, and center, is that the ARDU thinks that a few of us have put in a lot of efforts and we wanted to be on some kind of a governance model which included us. But then you went ahead and said, we're just building the app and we make the decision. So I also heard that not all the features that a few people who were representing ARDU, they wanted a lot of features. They wanted some fixed fares and some other kinds of customizations which are not possible. And the feature sets they were looking for wasn't coming in, all kinds of stuff. But in the end, I think it is just a matter of them feeling involved in this app and then now figuring out that they are not a part of this ecosystem. They're just another person using the app, and all the efforts, they thought they belonged to this, and they thought they could have some say in what it is being done and all of these things, but it didn't end up that way. And there are lots of differences, and even within auto drivers, I've heard many stories of they are not unified and they're fighting amongst themselves. Different people want different things. So I guess as a private company, you just want to make sure that you are doing what you need to do and provide the service and not get involved in all the bish bash that happens. Apparently, one of the differences was that the union wanted to launch a flat fare, 40 rupee fare in 2 kilometer radius between a metro station and residences, and Namma Yatri didn't oblige. But of course, that's a different from the people in the know. That is a different product altogether, because they wanted to do something called Metro Mitra, which didn't follow the Beckn protocol in some way, because it was not possible to bend So the Metro Mitra is a zone-based thing, or not necessarily. It's a meter-based thing. Let me correct. So while there is a zone of 40 kilometer for a 2 kilometer radius, there's also a branded meter plus 10 or meter plus 20 or something like that. So they actually put a physical meter and then just tell you, you book this, you give me an OTP, I'll serve you on the meter. That's the guarantee I give you. And we are not going to deviate from that. And so there were these models they were coming up with, and it was slightly different. When you have a protocol, when you have a origin destination, you have to provide those locations, and then you have to have a digital meter which calibrates so that you can provide transparency to the customer. But then if you come up with a model which is slightly different, maybe it doesn't match with the protocol, right? I don't think they're saying you can't do it, maybe somebody else can do it, but it doesn't match with the kind of structure that ONDC imposes. Maybe over time that will evolve. Maybe you can send your zone, or you can send some other parameters and it can be amended to something else, but it's not just not going to happen like that, right? So obviously it didn't come together. And of course there was also this whole thing about, we feel very ignored, we were helping you build this whole app, and suddenly you're saying everybody is equal, you don't get any special privileges. What happened to the decentralized governance model? And aren't we supposed to have some kind of a different governance structure where we helped you build it this big and we can continue to provide inputs? Of course it's not obligatory on anybody to do that, but it does leave you with some uh, bad blood. So here is what the ARDU official statement went like. I'm not able to pull up the official statement of Namma Yatri, but that's what it is. They just said all auto rickshaws are equal and we just want everybody to participate, and no 2-3 people are special for us. They did acknowledge on a newspaper, but not in their official release, that there were a few people in the beginning who helped us build this up to this big thing. But in their official release also, the Namma Yatri team didn't mention Rudramurthy or Patabi or Sathya Sankaran or any of these guys. So setting the record straight, it's what it says. Our association with Namma Yatri started right here. So there's a whole yada yada. I'll put the link in the show notes so you can actually read their stuff as well, with fair, open, meaningful, authentic consultation with inception stakeholder. They were okay with union agnostic approach because that's what they have also been saying. It's just that co-ideators disappointingly have no specific role in its ongoing and future management. I would feel miffed as well, but it is what it is. It is they've moved on. What does this mean really? The official statement is there. There are lots of opportunities coming by like this now. The Metro is going ahead with the pilot now. Namma Yatri is scaling to many other cities. Kolkata, they have accepted it. It's interesting. There are many questions we'll get to. One of which is, this has opened up the government to step in. This is interesting. The government now gets in on the act. They want to release their own app for auto rickshaw drivers. The government mulls revising Bengaluru auto fares every 2 to 3 years and come up with their own auto rickshaw app. This brings up a meter question, right? It brings up the whole question about what is the role of the auto rickshaw meter? Why do we have that meter? What does it do? I'd like to have a good conversation around that. Here's the one. Karnataka government to launch Ola Uber-like app by February. H.D. Kumaraswamy had offered financial assistance of up to 50 crore to launch an app. 50 crores for an app. What kind of an app are they building? Are they making it out of gold? Look at this. This particular app, I heard from someone, is going to cost around 4 crores. Seriously? Takes 4 crores to build an app. Half of the Namma Yatri code is on open source. It's on Rust. You can just pull it up. You can do that. There are many problems with this statement. Okay, let's now rant a little bit. Kolkata is using the Namma Yatri app, but they have commissioned Namma Yatri or Just Pay to build an app for them. From all I hear, they're doing a good job of it. They've agreed to do different fares, and they revised their fares, and they're now using tech in Kolkata to onboard taxi drivers, yellow taxis, and others. And many people are coming on board. Karnataka government now wants to build their own app for auto drivers. I don't understand why. First of all, it doesn't cost 4 crore to build an app like this. No, it doesn't. Half of the source code is already free. You can cobble it together for 1/4 of that or less than that. And since it's open source, you can build the open source community together and build it and get a maintenance contract, and you should be done. I don't know what this 4 crore amount is. And that article talked about 50 crores. I think we're going all over the place with this. I don't think the government should be building apps. I'm already questioning their ability to regulate the fares. Why do we have a meter? If you and I can buy an auto rickshaw and ply it for a fee, I would charge what I need to charge. You have the right to refuse my fare, right? If somebody else offers a cheaper fare than what I do, you can pick that. And this is what the apps are supposed to do, tell you who is offering a ride for your origin and destination and what's the fare they are charging. You pick and choose. You will get a list of people who are offering that. That's how you go to the grocery store. There are two, three people selling tomatoes at different prices, maybe approximately the same, but not necessarily. If somebody wants to clear his stock, he might offer a little bit of a discount. If somebody is nearby and has lower dead miles, he might offer it for a lower fee, right? There are lots of complaints with the fare itself, the calibration of the fares. They have not been calibrating the fares. The fares are set at 15 rupees per kilometer or some such thing. It is not inflation adjusted. Even if it is set on a diesel price, whereas 98% of the auto rickshaws are running on CNG, which is 2 rupees per kilometer. And electric auto rickshaws can also be at probably 2 to 3 rupees per kilometer. Both CNG and EV autos are almost similar in price per kilometer that they offer. EVs might get a little more cheaper. So if you're looking at 2-3 rupees per kilometer as the actual operating fare, plus your margins to eat, drink, have buy some clothes for the family, and do whatever it is, the auto rickshaws could be overpriced. I'm not saying they are. From having spoken to some of them, even at 15 rupees, their take home per month would hardly be 25,000, 30,000 rupees, which is decent, I would say. Not to live a lavish life, but it can get you going. But they slog it out in the traffic. So at 15 rupees, they claim what it is, and they're not charging 15, they charge more. So they think it is possible to ask for more and get more and probably work a little lesser and go home on time and spend time with the family and still have something decent to live. That's the way they want to look at the auto rickshaw, because they bought it, they have to pay the EMIs back as well, right? But what the meter price does is it sets a floor. It sets a floor price. So you know that whatever you charge, the other guy is not going to charge less than 15, because that's the guidance value. Nothing prevents you from charging lesser right now. That's what I've heard. Nobody has ever charged lesser than 15 and got caught saying that you're not going by the meter. In fact, they would be attracting people by the droves if they charge lesser, because they have a substantive margin there. Because if they are running a CNG and the auto rickshaw prices are calibrated on diesel prices, then it is quite different, right? I told you the operating cost at 2 to 3 rupees maybe on a CNG and EV, but then you're looking at, correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but the auto rickshaw fares are 15 rupees per kilometer. That's a decent margin, including EMI, whatever. That's everything above that cost. No, I don't. In my business, I don't get that kind of margins, right? You spend 2 rupees plus overheads, okay, 5 rupees, 6, 8 maybe, including EMIs. You're still having a good margin there, and that's the base. So I don't know the economics. I think we should work this out a little more, but I do know that they are getting good margins. Maybe not top lines, because you're on the road and your assets are only sweating so much. You don't have enough of those auto rickshaws to. You have only one, and you have to drive them, and you can only earn so much. You want to work 8 to 12 hours a day, and you are stuck in the traffic, and you're not able to make more trips and earn more money. So at the end of the day, that's the economics of it. But per trip, you do have good decent margins. It's just that you're not able to do enough trips. All right. So that being the case, what does this floor price setting do? Why are auto rickshaw drivers running behind that floor price setting, saying that make 15 17, make 17 18? You don't need that. You can set it. If you can offer an auto at 5 rupees for the last mile trip, you should be able to do. If you want to take on 5 passengers and split that, and not, instead of 15 you want to take 20, but you want to split it among 4, each paying 5, you should be able to do that, right? Our regulations are not helping anybody at the end of the day. It's not flexible enough. You want them to get a yellow board, you want them to stand in line for a fitness certificate, you want to harass them on meter charges. Everybody wants to know, because of the meter charges, anybody who asks for even 5 rupees more is considered extortion. because even we have a signaling on that price saying that this is what it should be. Somebody told you it should be this. It need not be. You should be able to shop around for the prices and take. Yes, it does give you a slight bit of an information asymmetry and you don't know what is the rates, but that can be published. It's like how house prices are published, guidance values are published. You just publish some, this is the average rate per kilometer of an auto rickshaw, which is CNG. And the apps can do a better job of saying, I am offering you a roster of 5 auto rickshaws which are bidding lower and lower or higher and higher, and you can choose that. It's just one choice among the many. Let's understand that. Setting the floor price removes the asymmetry for the auto drivers because they know they can't go. But then they end up not wanting to give you a lower price. Not that they will, there is no guarantee that they'll go lower because they are always looking to go higher because they are doing less and less trips because of the traffic. They would want to get more margins in each trip than try to do squeeze in more trips for lesser. If they were able to do more trips for lesser, then they might charge you lower. So if they were only doing metro trips in a very congested area for 5 kilometers or 6 kilometers and they refuse all other fares, maybe they can give you a lower price and do a share and offer a lot of trips and make more money in volumes rather than trying to make 1-2 hour trip to one corner of town with you and then earning a small margin. So the more time they spend on the road per trip, the more expensive your trip is going to get. And that flexibility, I think, could be offered, should be offered. Some kind of a deregulation on pricing is a useful topic. Maybe somebody can comment more on what they think about removing auto rickshaw fares as a regulation parameter. Is it like a minimum support price that you want to give? Is it an essential commodity? Don't you have other alternatives? I would be more than happy if the floor price was removed and there was asymmetry. Maybe there is a race to the bottom. I don't know who will win in that. But there is a supply demand constraint. There aren't as many autos as you would like. And I don't know why everybody is hung up on autos. You need a choice. You need so many other things. The second part of it is not having the government step in and build these apps. There's no need for the government to build these apps. I don't think it makes any sense. What does it mean for you and me? Right now, it doesn't mean much. There is a fair competition. The two-wheelers will obviously win out. The bike taxis will obviously win because they will be cheaper. So what the auto rickshaws need to go back and say is, I want to share this price. I want to share auto service where I can take in more people, split the fare and provide the same service. I can say, I'm going to the metro, 5 of you get on. Why should only one person pay for it? And start having larger share autos, right? Make that an option where people can pay a marginal fare or a split fare and still be able to get the benefits of the traveling with other people and allow these experiments to happen. It's becoming a street fight out there with auto rickshaws trying to get literally force the bike taxis out. There are shared bicycle services. There are YOLO services. There are many other services. The choice is immense. You need to have that choice. You need to be able to go out there and say, what do I have in front of me which can provide me the most bang for the buck right now and get me there faster? If you value time, you're willing to pay the price. If you value price, you're willing to give the time and you can choose appropriately. It's just a matter of having the choice and allowing everybody a fair play. So I don't think this amounts to much. Yes, a few people feel they have been wronged, and which might be true because they have selflessly contributed to building an app and validating it and building all of these things. But hey, it's the company says you can still be an auto driver and use this app. I don't have to kind of have you on board. It was good while it lasted, but then I want more things to do and I'm moving on. And it's sad that they just kind of not be in good terms with these people who helped build the app. And it's sad, I know those people very well, but at the end of the day, it wasn't about the pricing. It was about features that they couldn't add that they wanted to add. Maybe they wanted a say on the board and drive the app and say, look, I want something that is useful and I've contributed so much. What's in it? Why did you kick us out like this just because, not even acknowledging publicly in statements contributions of people? I think it's just sad. Shouldn't have ended this way with those 3 people. That doesn't mean the union itself is quite fragmented. There are many people who claim they are the union. They literally fight on the streets, but that is what it is. It's their bread and butter. Please don't expect some polished stuff from these things. They are fighting for their bread and butter. They won't have a job if they can't ride, and they are outcompeted, but they can't muzzle their way into this. And the apps are equalizing everything, and it's the government's job to allow all these options and choices, whether it is bike taxis or whether it is shared transport, share auto, share taxis, and share it with more people. Fractional riding is the name of the game, and I think we need to. It's a bad idea for the governments to build apps or commission apps. This is not required. Price control is not required. You may not get out of it immediately. Start with doing inflation adjustments and slowly ease out. Make it a guidance value kind of a thing and move out. Look, if you don't, you can call it anything you want. At the end of the day, even with the 15 rupees, the auto driver can say, yeah, the price is 15 rupees, but here's 5 rupees back. It's a cash back. I'm giving you a discount. Okay. So you can still produce a bill for 15 and actually end up with 10 by giving back something as a discount. On the other hand, you can still say 15 and call something a surcharge, peak hour surcharge, surge, whatever, welfare pricing, this is my medical expense. You can just add on things to that bill and still keep it at 15. You can hack it. You don't need the government to come back and keep doing any kind of a revision. Of course, the signaling is it is 15 and this guy is charging 90, but that's what they want to charge. That's the price. Either pay it or get out of it and choose another mode. I've heard too many people complain that they are overcharging. Overcharging against what? Against a price nobody accepts. Even if you think that the price is reasonable, it doesn't matter what the customer says should be the price. It is what the auto driver is offering. You can only accept or reject. Once you accept, there is a contract. If you don't accept, go to the next shop and buy the tomato or take that ride. Move on. Right? I think we're overdoing the price regulation. So there you go. Let's see how this works out. I just thought I should just put it out there and say it I don't think it means lower cancellations. I think the cancellations are still there, but I don't think the auto drivers are going to be lesser just because we had this fight between the people who contributed and didn't get acknowledged and got checked out. Whether they lose trust in this organization, well, it is what it is. They have a business to run and they're going to run it. I don't think auto rickshaws are an essential service. Government should focus on public transportation. Auto rickshaws are not public transportation. They're paratransit. They are last miles, and there are lots of last mile options. You don't like all these things. You want free. Take a bicycle. Bye bye.